Well, hi, Gabriel. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me.
Good, good. Well, thank you for taking the time to do this interview with me this morning. I wanted to give you a little bit more information about R.O.S E. So it's resources and outreach to safeguard the elderly, and we're working to do presentations to the senior population on making them aware of the different scams that are out there, and also giving them tips and tools to help them prevent falling victim to these scams. A lot of money has been lost and it just keeps increasing each year. And our goal is to see the number of victims and the dollar amount just start decreasing every year from doing the presentations. So if you tell me a little bit about what you do and your background.
Yeah, so I'm the founder of Wizer. We are a security awareness provider. Companies hire us, license our software basically in order to present to their employees how to keep safe online and avoid getting hacked and all of that. And regardless, we're doing a lot of community activities in order to help promote, being safe online. Hopefully, online safety will become a basic life skill for many of us, and that's sort of our vision.
Okay, great. Awesome. We definitely need more people out there working towards that. So one thing I wanted to talk about today is the two-factor authentication or the multi-factor authentication. I think it's the same thing, but it's just got two different names. I know I use that personally on things, and I thinking that maybe not a lot of people in the community use those authentications as a next line of security for their accounts. So can you tell me, I know you guys have a video out about it, but could you tell me a little bit more about how that can be beneficial?
So sure, unfortunately people share their passwords among different apps. So they sign in with their Gmail account to other apps. So basically, if one account gets hacked, and people register to all type of sites, right? Some of them, they even forget that they signed up. And so many sites get hacked and you're not aware of that. But what happens is if you shared your password with a site that got hacked, then automatically those criminals will attempt to use that password on all the apps that are out there almost. There are scripts that just try to log in with that username and that password to all kind of other services. And they succeed many times because we just keep on sharing those passwords. So the multi-factor authentication, what it helps to do is to add another layer that requires you to, beyond the password that you enter, to have something else. And usually people get text messages from the service where they need to put in that code after they log in, meaning that even if a criminal did somehow get your password, whether it's from a site that was hacked or whether you used a simple password and you didn't realize it, that's not going to be enough to actually get into your, for example, Gmail account. Now, the reason is that it's that important, just imagine somebody gets into your Gmail account. What they will do next, those criminals, they will hit reset passwords on all of the other apps that you're registered. And usually what happens is you will get a reset email to where? To your Gmail, for example, right? So if I'm a criminal and now I have access to your Gmail, the next thing that I do is I start to reset all the passwords on your other apps. So you really want to safeguard, for example, your email account or your big account. So if you had to start somewhere with multi-factor authentication, I would say start with your email accounts, with your social media accounts, with your bank accounts, those big accounts. Start there and then go and enable it. Basically make it a habit to just always enable it. Now there's two types of, there's actually more, but just to keep things simple, the ones that we were mostly used to are the text-based, but there's also app-based, where a text is not sent to you, but you basically get a number. You click on something called Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator that you can just download from the App Store. And it changes every 45 seconds, usually the code, and then you just enter it instead of the text message. And why is that important? I usually say use that instead of the text message, because there's a lot of scams that involve tricking you to think you're talking to the bank, and what ends up happening, you're sending that text message to the scammer. So
gotcha. Okay.
They get you on the phone. They tell you that they identified, for example, 2 fraudulent transactions. And do you want to reverse that? You say, of course, I didn't do those transactions. They say, okay, hold on. We're going to send you a code. Please read it back to us to just make sure that who you say you are. So they, use that social engineering to trick you. And it's very hard sometimes. It totally looks, believable. So if you avoid using text messages and you use the apps as a second method, that is less likely to happen.
All right. That I've used Microsoft Authenticator for one account, and I don't remember which account it is, but when it does come up, my first thought is, because I don't use it that much, is, oh, now I got to go into that app and do this. And, and it's like, why? For me, I just look at it like, I just want them to text me the number, but you're exactly right. There are so many scams going on nowadays that involve text messages. I get them all the time. And, you might think you're talking to, the bank, the company, whoever, and you're inadvertently giving out that authentication number, which, like you said, is the back door into your accounts.
Yeah. I heard the number can be the same. People can spoof numbers. So you can get a text message that is in a thread from a previous conversation you had with your bank, for example. So it looks identical. So I'm saying it's like, instead of teaching, like, it takes time for people to learn all the scams. So use just, some methods just will make it harder for scammers. And what they will do, they will just move on to someone else.
Right, right.
Usually
that makes
what
sense.
I tell people, if you get a phone call and they tell you do this, do that, just say, I don't have a computer.
Yeah.
You just make it ridiculous that they just can't move on and they just go elsewhere. You just want them to leave you alone.
Because they're looking for the lowest hanging fruit.
And they're looking for the easiest. They're out there for the grabs. Right. All you need to do is be a little bit safer than other people. And that's where we are today. So on the one hand, it's like everywhere is scams. But on the other hand, honestly, you don't need to do a lot to reduce the risk significantly. You just need to be a little bit better than the others, and then it just economically doesn't make sense to go after you in most cases, unless that's my advice. And never treat a digital identity like you're treating a person that you're meeting in person, because you never know who's behind that identity.
That's true. True.
Somebody can hack your kid.
Right.
And then from their account, they can send a text message or an email to you. So when you look at the text message, you're like, damn, that's from my kid. Like, that's an actual message from a person that I know, but it's not him or her.
It's not true. Right. You can copy and paste photos from all over the internet and use those photos. Unfortunately, I mean, the internet was set up to do good and help people be able to communicate better, and social media for especially people that are long distance, family, to be able to stay somewhat close. But there are the people out there that are using it for bad reasons, and we have to make sure we're aware, and we have to follow some precautions and safeguard a lot of our sensitive personal information. So if I'm understanding you correctly with the multi-factor authentication, your suggestion is to use a Google Authenticator or a Microsoft Authenticator that you can actually download from the App Store or the Google Play Store. And if I'm not mistaken, I think those are free apps.
Yeah, they're free app. And again, it may intimidate a few people, just to set it up. So, but it's still worth it. So, talk to someone that you trust, have them help you out if you need. We also have a guide on how to do that I can share.
Oh, okay.
So we have
that would be great. Yeah.
And we also show exactly where to do it in 15 common apps. So we really made it easy.
That's great.
Even if it adds a little bit of friction, it's worth it. It's like without it, it's almost like leaving the door open to some degree. Passwords are just not enough.
Right. It used to be enough 10 years ago, but the criminals are getting smarter and getting smarter with technology, and so we have to
crack the passwords. There's almost like 5 or 10 billion accounts that were leaked, and there's passwords out there. So like almost all of us, our information somehow is out there. So the only reason that a lot of us haven't been scammed yet is they just didn't have the time to get to us. It's right. We're at that stage. So protect yourself, lock the front door, make sure they have that double lock, and then just, don't be paranoid, but just at least do the minimum.
Right. To be safe online well, great, Gabriel. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. I think this is wonderful information that a lot of people could use. And I would love that video or manual that you talked about on how to set up either of those two authenticators, and then how to use them, with certain apps. I think that'll be extremely beneficial for people to actually see somebody doing it and have the instructions there on how to do it. So I'd love to have you back to talk about some of the other scams or some of the other safety protocols. I've been on your website. You have a ton of good videos out there. If you don't mind, what is your website so people know if they want to get on and look at the community content?
It's wizer-training.com, Wizer with a Z, WIZER-training.com.
Okay, awesome. And I can tell everyone I've been on the site and I've looked at a lot of different community content there, and it is phenomenal. It's very helpful, and I would encourage you guys to go there. I would also encourage everyone to follow R.O.S.E Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly on Facebook and LinkedIn, and we'll soon be coming to Twitter. And the website is roseadvocacy.org. So that's roseadvocacy.org, and right there on the homepage, you can sign up for our newsletter. All right. Thank you again, Gabriel.
Thank you very much.
All right. Look forward to talking to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.